Hello everyone, we've got a speed build today and hey, look at that, this is what we're going to be building. So we're going to find out how I did it. And as you can see, there's a car there, so I will be using a bit of debug today for the starter home, but not too much, just a little bit for the landscaping mainly. So let's see how I did it. So we're going to start off with getting the layout. So I was just sort of working out rooms and what I wanted to do for the rooms, and it does end up being a 2-bedroom, one bathroom starter home, which I think is pretty good for a starter home. Anyway, 2 bedrooms is fantastic. You can do a lot with that. There's lots of room. So just working out the shape, and now onto the roof. So that's always the fun part, how that all turns out and how I wanted to do that. I did have an inspiration for this build, so I was working off a bit of a plan, but as is the case with a lot of my inspirations, I do deviate from them a little bit. So yeah, I believe I deviated a little bit from my inspiration, but that's okay. Sometimes you need to do that, and that's fine. So yeah, just fiddling around with the roof. So I did have a play around with the idea of the half walls for the roof, and as you can see, I've lifted up the middle, the platform in the middle, just to make it a nice flat roof on top. So the difference between the platforms for roofs and the half wall for roofs is obviously that you need to pay for the half walls. So there is a cost difference, but the other difference is you get more flexibility with the colouring with the half walls opposed to the platforms. Because with the platforms you only get the limited colours that are on the platform painting part of it all, but with the half walls obviously you have the whole wall painting options that are in the base game. So yeah, so I decided to go with half walls rather than platforms, as I normally would do. Even though it was a little bit more expensive, I thought that was worth the cost because I'd get a little bit more flexibility in what I could do with the colours. So as you can see with the roof, I have deviated a little bit from what I had originally thought to do, which is a roof on an angle. I ended up doing a flat roof on the around the front there for the carport, which is going to be off to the side, which is why that is not enclosed as the rest of the houses. So I opened that all up, and I went for sort of a mid-brown in the middle, so it's kind of a little bit darker than mid-brown, but it's not like a dark brown, if that makes any sense. So as you see, I'm just working on the colours there and what I'm going to do there. So the carport itself is going to be white, which I've already got there, but then I'm using the brown columns around the side, so that sort of brings it in to match the rest of the build, and just a bit of contrast colours as well coming through. So there'll be white around one side of the building, and I decided on a dark grey for the other side of the building, with a little contrast half wall gardens going in there as well. Just add a little bit of dimension around the front. So I mean, I think because I used a bit of debug for like the landscaping and stuff, I could get away with being a little bit more frivolous with using the half walls for things, because I mean it does definitely add to the cost, particularly when you're on a limited budget of trying to keep it under 20k for a starter home. So yeah, so it's getting a little bit frivolous using the half walls, but I think I got away with it. I think it was okay in the end. And I did a little what do they call them, sunroof in the carport as well. So I don't know, it just kind of worked, and I feel like it was in the inspiration as well that I was doing. There was like a little bit of a clear roof in the middle of the carport, so like a little roof window. So just bringing the carport slash porch roof in a little bit further, so there isn't like a gap in between there. And now I've got the fun job of working out what I want to do with the fencing around the back, because I wanted to have the back area sort of fenced off as well, and then it created a room for itself, so then I had to fluff around with it, trying to de-room it, and I managed that. So yeah, I went with the grey the dark grey, what is it, the mega fence? Well, I'm not sure, but anyway, the dark grey sort of stone fence around the back. I think that sort of worked really nicely with the dark grey that was around the other side of the building there. And then we've got the front entranceway going into the white painted area, and there's a little wall there, although I don't know if that stays there. I might move that later, I can't remember, but just working out how I want to do the front landscaping. I just changed the green of the grass simply because I wanted to have the option of easily repainting it without it looking weird if I stuffed up the landscaping with the terrain paint later. So yeah, so I changed to a terrain paint that I could easily change, is why I did that, if you're wondering why. If you weren't, then too bad, I've just told you why. So yeah, landscaping, I've used the lavender in the pre-made pots from Debug, and some of the coloured lavender round in the little half wall gardens. And there goes my car going in there, and I'm just going to try and work out what else I want to do with this little front area, because it's not like a particularly large lot. I mean, it is a starter lot, so you know, you haven't got oodles of room, but it's not too bad a space really. I think you could probably get away with a bit of room around the back there for the kids, bit of fun for them. And so just doing a little fenced off enclosed garden there with a bit of the Debug grass, because I thought that looked quite nice. And just, I didn't think that like loads and loads of flowers would be suitable for this landscaping. Like some flowers, yes, but nothing too crazy with the flowers, because I thought that might look a little bit weird. So yeah, I think this sort of build suited more of a contained garden kind of vibe, so that's what I went for there. And I just extended the roof out on the side there so it overhung, and added in a couple of columns on the side too, matching the other side of the house. And oh yeah, I was having a real issue with placing, I don't know what was going on. It was like, I think the game was quite buggy, but yeah, I had move objects on, but I don't know, it was just being really fussy with how I put plants into this area. I don't know, yeah, I don't know what was going on. It's just being quite fussy with it. So yeah, I had a bit of trouble with that. I don't know what was happening, but worked around it in the end and just went with like a basic little what are they called, the cypress trees? Cypress trees. I'm gonna go with cypress trees in a line. I mean, that's nice and simple and nothing too complicated, which I think suited, as I said, the more contained nature of the builds here. And now I am on to working out what I want to do with the windows. So that's always interesting fun, particularly when you're doing like a base game, not so many options build. So I just was having a thought about having the windows slightly covered with shelving. You know, the base game, is it the Immaculate shelving? Yeah, anyway, I was just having a play around with that to see whether or not that could work and if that looked any good. So that's what I did, and I'm just saving a little bit of money and shrinking the fence here to the slightly lower style because I think that's sensible. And then I was better able to match the gate as well, so there was a secondary reason for why I did that. And just putting in a bit of terrain paint there. So it's a walkway going around to the back little barbecue area that they're going to have around there. And because of the way that I set this up, I did look at lifting it up, but yeah, once again, with the carport and stuff, it just didn't quite work. So I just went in with like a flat build on this one with no stairs going into the house, but that's fine. And it is quite a large bathroom, so I'm just working out where all the furniture is going to sit. And yeah, so it ended up being quite a large, nice square bathroom, so I could fit in a shower and a bath, so that was nice. And a bit of decoration there as well. So you don't always get that kind of luxury in a starter home. I mean, I think I did pretty well. I mean, it's going to have like some basics, just the basic stuff, but that's okay. I mean, you kind of, anything where you get extras, like, you know, having a dresser and stuff like that in a starter home, I mean, that's fantastic. So basic beds once again, but I'm putting in like a bookshelf and a dresser again, and I might even put in some toys, I don't know. And, you know, basic kitchen there, sink, blah blah blah. But we've got a smoke detector there, so I mean, you know, that's a nice bonus in a starter home. So now I'm working on how I'm going to lay out the lounge. So this was a little tricky. I wanted to still have a flow from the living area through to the kitchen / dining area, but working that out was a little tricky. But yeah, putting in the half wall kind of divided off the entrance area and the living area, and I think that kind of worked. So I was happy with that, and I was also happy to not just have the basic couches, you know, the basic plain couch, which is perfectly fine, but sometimes it's nice in the starter home to have something a little bit nicer than perfectly fine. So I ended up making this like a little study area. I didn't unfortunately have enough money left over to keep the computer. Basically the computer unfortunately had to go sadly, but it is what it is. But I was able to keep the bookcase, the desk and the chair, so that's nice. I don't know if I kept the TV. That's quite an expensive TV to go into a starter home too, so I'll see. I'm not too sure. I can't remember whether or not that gets kept, but I know the computer definitely goes, because I could not afford that. And I mean, I still haven't done the colours either, so that's something I need to work on too and pay for. I don't think I keep the easel either. That was another thing that had to go. So the unfortunate reality of a starter home. It's sad, but yeah, it's what happens. Okay, so I think looking at that, we're probably about ready to, yeah, I'm just putting in some cheaper options because, yeah, I was looking at how much money I had left and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be able to paint the house. So, yeah, so I'm just working on recoloring at this stage. So I'm going with the blacks with a lot of the furnishings, although I don't know necessarily if I keep all of that black, but yeah, I went with this lovely tiling for the kitchen, which has got the nice teal coming through it, and it actually has a bit of black winding through it as well, so that worked really nicely with the black in the kitchen. And I'm just deciding on what color I want to have the walls and stuff in the living area, and ended up with grey with pops of teal on the feature walls, so I think that ended up looking quite nice. And I even got a vase and a rug in a starter home, so I thought I was doing really well with decorations and stuff, because, you know, it's so limited on the cost of things. And I was just working out rugs for the kitchen area, so I ended up carrying through that teal. I'm pretty much at the limit of what I can afford, so yeah, I think this is I'm close to the point where the computer has to go, unfortunately. And then we've got the fun job of trying to work out wallpaper for the kids' room. I always find that so hard because it's such a limited choice, and I don't really like a lot of the choices. So yeah, always a tough one for me, particularly with just base game builds. So, but I think we got there in the end, and I think it looked quite cool with like the little decals on the wall too. And I can almost never afford these in base game builds, starter home builds. I mean, base game builds are fine, but starter home builds, having curtains in the bedrooms, yeah, I was delighted that I could actually afford to put some curtains in there. Yeah, this bedroom. I love that green bed, but finding like wallpaper to go with that green bed, that can be difficult. So yeah, just working on the backyard area. So I was going to do like a planter. I'm not sure if I actually do one or not, because I was having trouble getting it in the place that I wanted. because it needed to go in quite far and it kind of blocked off half the little area. But yeah, I think I changed my mind, and then I was like, I need some cheaper fencing because I need to save money. So looking at all my different options for fencing, and then the whole room thing happened again, so that was fun. But anyway, cheaper fencing. So just working out some ideas there and what I'm gonna do, and ended up not doing any fencing. So use the Basegame little hedgy plants debug items, and have a little blocked off secluded area just like that, and that was free, which is a bonus. So yeah, I can't remember, I don't know if I just completely no, I don't think I put any more fencing in. I just don't think I could afford it, unfortunately. I'd rather have curtains than fencing, I guess. And then I'm using a bit more debug landscaping, just to add in some more landscaping. I was like, where was I going with that? I was just landscaping. So yep, and I am using the terrain tool to put in the barbecue area rather than actually using tiles, which cost money. So that's smart, saving the little cash bits there and making it look so fancy with the flowers and stuff around the back. And they are contained flowers, and you know, they're not super abundant, so I think that still worked with the vibe of the house, and got in our nice little seating out the back. And there I am, deleting some more of the footpath. Gonna put in maybe some more terrain paint. That's one of those things that you do at the end of a build and you realise, oh no, I've run out of money. And that was the case. I had run out of money. Yep. As you do. So I'm just using debug once again. Yes, I am using debug once again, just to put in like a little contained garden. So obviously, like, the fencing around the outside of the garden did cost money, so that's, yeah, that's a thing. But at the end of the day, I saved a lot of money with the bushes. So it's a good thing, and I think we're just getting close to done. I think that ended up looking really good, and I think we've got a lot in there for a starter home. Yeah, I'm really happy with how that all turned out. So see you later, computer. I couldn't afford that anymore. But yeah. Okay, well, that's us. Let's take a look at what we did. I think it came out really well for a Basegame starter home. I think I'm really happy with it. I'd be super happy to live in that as a sim starting out in the world. I think that would be lovely, and debug really helped us out in this particular build, obviously with the car and like the landscaping. And I love the pops of teal throughout the build. I think it just really brightened the house and made it look really super modern. And yeah, mixed with the grey and the darker shades of grey. And oh, I changed the bedroom. I couldn't handle that bumpy wallpaper, so I changed the bedroom to the light green confetti. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next build. Bye!